In today's episode, I will be showing you how to land on the moon and get these awesome screenshots, including the research you need to do in order to be able to do so. Also including how to build a lander vehicle and the ascent and transfer stage. And finally, how to fly it to get that damn thing landed on the surface of the Kerbin's nearest neighbor. That is the moon, by the way. But let's get started. So, research-wise, you want to research the landing. Obviously, if you're gonna build a lander, then you want to research the electrics because of the solar panels that we need, and also the lights help in a great way when doing the landing, and I'll let you know exactly how. Then I'm thinking heavy rocketry might be handy because it will unlock the skipper for me engine, which it will be highly useful. And then finally, I am thinking the advanced construction perhaps, because it will unlock for us the decouplers, or maybe should we go with something else? These are tiny engines. Advanced construction seem much more feasible though. Oh, right, advanced flight controls. That gives us the bigger pod and also the reaction wheels. And then for the final node we will take advanced construction. There we go. So let's get into the building. We're gonna take this Gemini style capsule for our lander. Let me just switch to partless configuration for the for my Kerbal Engineer. And then again I'm gonna forget it and I'm gonna put the Kerbal Engineer again later on. Well, you know, that's me, it happens. Anyway, so we're putting up some solar panels. We're gonna be putting some parachutes, science experiments, and I always go by designing the craft backwards. Why? Because first I'm thinking what I'm gonna be returning from the moon back to Kerbin, and that will be science capsules, science experiments, parachutes for landing, and some batteries so they can survive the trip. Then you go with the heat shield to be able to withstand the re-entry. So you're just going from the basically landed where everything is good and then start going backwards. Then we have the materials bay that will be conducting science. We're gonna be putting it inside a fairing so that it looks kinda cool. Then I'm gonna be switching to some engine for the landing, of course, and I was thinking to take the thuds basically because the thuds might be actually kinda cool. But even the Terrier engine might actually suffice. But what if I put the engine plate? Yes, if I put an engine plate, then the Terrier will work fine. Because if you don't put the engine plate, then the shroud, engine shroud, will be the size of an engine, which is like 1.25, and this is 1.875 meters, so it would look like a shaved chicken. So yeah. Sorry for that analogy, but anyway, okay, let's put here this guy. What about if I put it like that? No, that's just hideous. We're gonna revert to the one that we had, so let's see what do we have thrust to weight on the moon. On the Kerbin we have enough. On the moon we should have, vacuum-wise, we should have 127. Well, that's enough. Alright. Then in that case I want to be switching these solar panels and everything closer. You know, design refinements, it's all about refining the design that you have and making it as good as it can be. Landing legs are mandatory, lights are really important for the landing. I'm just gonna sneak them in a little bit more inside of the fairing so that they still light up and they help us in terms of judging how high we are. Then we're gonna be Mun Lander 1, there we go, save the craft. And now let's construct the transfer and ascent vehicle. So here I'm actually just trying to figure out the shroud. Look at that. The Terrier is the 1.25 engine, but the engine shroud follows the engine plate, and that's the purpose of these engine plates. There we go. Then we put another fuel tank here, and then we put 2 fuel tanks. Good. Then we put the skipper engine that gives us thrust to weight of 120 for Kerbin atmospheric, which is a little bit on the low side. However, if I add a couple more boosters on the side, these bad boys, then the thrust to weight will be much better. And look at these. So now we have 180 at ascent. We'll put the 4 fins, and then I'm gonna go with asparagus staging. So the asparagus staging means that I will be taking this, and this booster will be feeding fuel into this one will be feeding into main stack, this one again to the booster, and this one into main stack. So as the fuel drains, it will always be filling the next stage plus in addition to burning. While this is not entirely realistic, it still works wonders and makes the Delta V much more optimized for being able to go anywhere. So I like to use that approach, and as you can see, I've put the groups, so I'm separating first 2 boosters with the 2, Separatron motors, and then I'm gonna be doing that again and again. Alright, that being said, we have these 4 launch clamps which will be holding the rocket in place. Oh wait, hold on. Come on. There we go. Actually, I'm gonna go with 6, because these 6 look much better. Sorry. That's the thing, how it goes. So, there we go, and then this. Yeah, 6 engines actually gives me better optimization and better Delta V when it comes to it. So, when it comes to the Mun lander, I want to have as much Delta V as possible. So, in the end, I decided with 6. I think it will be fine. There we go. Alright, perfect. There we go, just making sure that I'm triggering the decouplers and the correct set of the Separatron engines, otherwise thing will become really Kerbal. So yeah, okay. Separating these two, okay, these 2. Check your staging, it's like the mantra of the KSP, so everything needs to be correct. Then we have to make sure that we auto-strut, and we put here Valentina and Bob. So, there we go. And launch. Look at them go straight upwards. Our thrust weight is 1.7, which is pretty great. We have to keep it that way. And look, first stage, decouple. And look, all the other stages are full. So then we have the second stage, which will decouple in a matter of 9 seconds. There we go, second stage done. And these 3 will burn for much longer. See? That's the whole benefit of using these fuel pumps to basically fully fuel the boosters. There you go, Valentina and Bob. Well, guys, you will be doing the landing on the moon. So there we go, and now our thrust weight is only 1.2, which is a little bit on the lower side, but we are hopefully high enough in the atmosphere with high enough apoapsis that we don't really need to care. When it comes to Skipper is a capable engine, but it's more for vacuum optimization. It's not like the mainsail or anything. So Skipper is more like vacuum engine rather than the atmospheric engines, but it can be used until we unlock the mainsail, I guess. Alright. Valentina and Bob. They are looking happy, everything is looking great. Bob is here as a scientist so that he can keep resetting the one-time experiments, which will be really important later on. After all, we do want to get a boatload of science, don't we? Alright, so Valentina and Bob, there we go. We are almost at the 100-kilometer apoapsis, and our periapsis is actually quite nice, so pretty decent ascent, if I dare say so myself. We will require not too much to be able to circularize, some 350, 400-ish meters per second, and we have more than enough to land on the moon. We have way more than we actually did on the previous save, and that's the reason why I decided not to go with the lander in the previous episode. Previous episode we did cover how to get to the moon, get into the orbit, and today we will begin tackling the landing. Okay, there we go. Lights work, everything works. So now we will be doing the circularization burn in roughly 30 seconds. 10. Make that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and burn. See, when we're in the vacuum of space, the Skipper engine performs amicably. I mean, it's just great engine. All right, so good. Now, what we need to do is secure encounter with Kerbin. So there we go. We are in space low, and we shall be conducting the material study while in space high, I think. So right now, I'm just checking that we are on track to rendezvous with Moon. I'm planning an encounter. There we go. A little bit of fiddling in terms of getting the periapsis just where I want it to be. I am trying to reduce the Delta V requirement as well when I'm doing so, because the less I have the delta V requirement now, it will also be less to decelerate when we will be in orbit around Moon. So there is a point where you want to befiddle extra. So, yeah. Moon periapse is 20 kilometers, I think that's fine. The burn will be 31 seconds and it will be 836 meters per second, which means our transfer stage will still be used once for decelerating around the Moon. Great. Alright. Burn will be starting in 13 minutes. Let's just accelerate. Oh, I do love that green button. That's just amazing. So guys, here is how you do that transfer. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ignition. Looks beautiful. And once you are coming close to the end of the burn, you want to be switching to the map view so that you can fine-tune your orbit, like this. Alright, and oop, there we go, 20, okay. 20 meters, 20 kilometers orbit, and that's it. Now all we have left to do is to enjoy this beautiful transfer. Valentina and Bob are going to the Moon, and hopefully they will be landing there. What am I talking? Of course they will be landing. Alright, so once we switch to the Moon's sphere of influence, I'm just planning to ensure look at this, the encounter. And I'm circularizing around the Moon, which is great, and I'm actually gonna fix the inclination so that we do pass over the craters, because the craters are most, I guess, interesting pieces when it comes to the Moon. We have also a total of 567 meters per second left in the tank, with a burn being of 268. Okay, so there we go, and we are getting ready to the burn where we want to circularize. Perform the orbital insertion, which will be happening in 30 seconds. There we go. Burning. Alright, and we are in the orbit of the Moon. Now we will be proceeding to the landing. So I don't want to waste too much time, so I'm gonna fix my inclination, because I want to be landing on the far side crater that we will be passing over. So I'm just pointing the craft, I think it's normal prograde. There we go, which means that means upwards. And I mean, everything is relative, but I guess towards the pole. There we go, and then we will be doing a tiny burn. It's really a tiny burn. Oh, there we go. And now we will be passing over the crater. However, let's do the EVA report, see if we can actually snag some extra science. I don't think so. And in 4 minutes we will be doing the deorbit burn. So we go, point the rocket prograde, and we're still working this on our actually transfer stage, which is great because that means that the transfer stage will slam into the Moon, leaving no debris above, which is great. I wish I could say I really planned for this. The truth is, I just winged it. However, that's something that happens when you actually have played KSP for well over 4,000 hours. Okay, there you go. Okay, so all in all, we have 215 meters per second still. So once we actually get over the crater, we will be starting to actually decelerate even more. You might be misled that this is the crater that I'm talking about, and actually you won't be misled because it is. Yeah, I just don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna be decelerating, decoupling, and there we go. So idea is that I will be killing off all of my horizontal speed, which you can see in the on the top right says horizontal speed in my Kerbal Engineer. If you're using stock, the good indicator will be that this yellow marker will be coming on the top of the blue nav ball, exactly on its pole, when you switch to surface, like this. There you go. Okay, perfect. Let's extend the landing legs. And now what I'm monitoring is my surface velocity, which is rapidly increasing, and I'm trying to find my shadow. I am burning though, because the engine is not that powerful. It is... Oh, there is the shadow. You can see it as a tiny dot. I mean, the sun is directly above, so the shadow won't be of great help, but it will. So one thing that you can do, guys, now when you're landing, you could turn on the lights, but I obviously forgot it, because the landing lights will also start casting the shadows or start casting the light rays at the floor, indicating when you're close enough. There we go. I'm just now reducing my surface velocity, the vertical velocity, to be less than 10, ideally less than 5. The slope that I'm landing will be 5 degrees, which I guess is hard to judge when you're looking straight from the top. However, looking on sideways, I mean, that's the thing where it actually Kerbal Engineer can help a lot, but if you look like this, you can always, you know, abort. Okay, so 3.0 and touchdown. There we go. Little wobbly there, but all in all, it went great. See? There we go. Now let's do all the juicy science that we can. Mystery goo, temperature, materials bay, all those wonderful things, and then we will be collecting all of those experiments. Collect all. Great. Bob, get out. Do the AVA report. Ooh. Whoa. Fix the goo. Restore the materials bay. Okay, fall down and do the flag, if you please. And of course, don't forget about the surface sample. So surface sample, and now plant the flag of GrunfWorks in the east far side crater. Moon East far side crater. One thing that I always do, I name my sites, the biome where I have been, so that I know that I don't need to come there again. And of course I do this cool selfie. Look at that, Bob saluting ever so proudly. Why should he not? He has been the first Kerbal to has set their feet on the moon. There we go. Okay, let's collect all of the science that we have, and we are ready for the takeoff. We will waste no more time because your time is precious, same as mine, and let's go up. We are burning for roughly 45 degrees until we get to the 7-kilometer apoapsis, and then I'm gonna burning almost horizontally until I get to 10, and then I'm starting to circularize roughly around 10 kilometer. 10-11 should be enough to get us high enough. Well, 10 by 20. It doesn't need to be perfect, guys. And look at this. We still have 1,324 meters per second to burn. So more than enough actually than we need. Great. That's important to know. So we are burning to insert ourselves back into the moon's orbit. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, so now we have to figure out how to get home. So I'm burning until I get the Kerbin periapsis, and then I start looking for the trajectory where the periapsis is the lowest. And then I add a little bit more and a little bit more, and it's usually the lowest if it's on the opposite side of the planet. And then I start decreasing, so to basically get the periapsis around 32 meters per second, and then that's it. See? Beautiful. Point the craft maneuver prograde. With Valentina at the helm, there is no problem whatsoever. We're getting onwards to the node. Alright. The burn will take 27 seconds and it will happen in roughly, let's say, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hit it. Also, like I said, when you're burning like this, you want, towards the end of the burn, to switch to your map view so that you have a good chance of understanding how is your burn. So, see, our burn was a little bit too much, so I have to burn actually opposite to increase that ever so slightly. There we go, 32. That's good enough. And now all we need to do is to enjoy the transfer back. Bye-bye, Moon. Gorgeous, right? Okay, sphere of influence change, meaning that, you know, the video has like slowed down a little bit. Then let's turn to orbit retrograde, making sure that all of our, you know, separatrons are working as they should. And just preparing for everything pretty much. There we go. Getting ready to point orbit retrograde, and I have started to ignite the engine, so let it decelerate ever so slowly, and when we're done, we're just gonna, you know, stage it and eject it. So there we go, and stage. Kaboom. Valentina and Bob are coming back home, sadly on the dark side of the planet, but it is what it is. We have popped in the chute and I've accelerated once again for your convenience. There we go. So guys, this is yet another successful mission, and I hope you liked what you saw in terms of how to get to the moon. And if you can see, 422 science earned. But that's it from me, so, you know, hit a like at this if you liked what I'm doing here. Let me know in the comments below if you're appreciating the series, and I will be seeing you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.